Picture this. Dawn still clings to the Indianapolis skyline, coffee barely cooling on media row tables, when a single whistle blast ricochets off the gym walls, and instantly, the whole WNBA is wide awake. Before most teams have finished stretching calves, the Indiana Fever look like they've fast-forwarded 2 months of chemistry. Reporters scrambling for angles fumble phones instead. Did the league's sleeping giant just jolt out of hibernation, or were the rest of us just snoozing on them? Stick around, because by the end, you'll decide whether the 2025 crown is about to get a brand new polish of red and navy. Coach Stephanie White doesn't do warm-ups. She does wake-up calls.
Right now. The devil's in the details. Everything we do. Detail-oriented, purposeful, intentional.
90 seconds into the very first defensive shell, she spikes the ball mid-drill. NBA level talk or we rewind the clock, she barks, her voice bouncing faster than the Spalding. The practice feed hasn't even gone live yet, but a trainer's phone captures the moment. Within an hour, the clip is all over X, titled White Noise, Volume 1. Yet the viral adrenaline hides a strategic masterstroke. White's Connecticut teams finished top 2 in defense for 3 straight years, while last season's Fever languished at 11th. Every redirected pass, every shouted switch shortens that gap.
So focusing on the quarter court, being able to carry that over to live action. And that is what we're looking for. Who can carry it over?
On the sideline, Aaliyah Boston claps so loudly the media table flinches. She's wanted a coach who demands the very thing she craves: structure. And structure is contagious. Rookies glance at vets, vets glance at White, and the entire building inhales the same disciplined air. But elite coaching only scares rivals when the players can execute the blueprint. Tawana Bonner saunters in with 4 all-star nods gleaming on her resume. So relaxed, she flips her shooting sleeve off mid-stride like it's a dramatic cape. Right behind her, Natasha Howard, triple champion, threads a bounce pass that hums like a tuning fork. Add Sophie Cunningham's ice water glare and surprise signing Sydney Colson, and you've dropped a baker's dozen of playoff scars into a locker room hungry for new ones. Why would Colson, beloved in Las Vegas, choose Indy? She laughed it off on Indy Star Live. Because Caitlin Clark prints eyeballs the way Indiana printers corn. She also whispers, off-camera, about seeing the same spark she once saw in a Seattle squad that shocked the league. The veteran quartet doesn't just raise the bar. They grab it, drag it higher, and dare everyone to try a pull-up. But when the bar rises, roster math gets brutal. 15 hopefuls, 12 chairs, 8 guaranteed contracts. If the numbers feel claustrophobic, the gym feels tighter. Rookies, Michaela Timpson, Bella Ejim, and Jillian Allen are on camp deals so fragile they're practically written in pencil. No guaranteed salary until final cuts. When Allen's entry pass sails long, you can practically see dollar signs boarding the last plane out. The pressure forges steel. Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull dive across midcourt in a tie-up drill, skinning knees yet laughing, more relief than joy. Because each hustle play is a physical resume update. Even the ball boys move faster. Energy is currency and nobody wants to look broke. In the middle of that furnace, one player just discovered a lighter pair of shoes. For 6 seasons, Kelsey Mitchell wore 2 ill-fitting crowns. Leading scorer and reluctant den mother of a perpetual rebuild. Imagine a Ferrari forced to tow a trailer full of spare parts. But with Bonner and Howard grabbing the leadership wheel, Mitchell can finally slam all that horsepower into drive. In scrimmage, she runs wild. A hesitation pull-up at the elbow, a quick jab step 3, a look-away skip to the corner, all inside 20 seconds. White pauses practice not to correct but to marvel. That, right there, that's vintage Mitchell. Analytics later reveal her usage drops 9%, but her points per touch spike. Less burden, more bang. And remember, she spent the offseason in Spain fine-tuning footwork with a former futsal coach, explaining why her stop-start is brutal on ankles now. Freedom on offense is cute. Discipline on defense wins rings.
Look, I don't expect us to not make mistakes early while we're figuring this out, but what I don't want is to stop.
White's playbook reads like a thesis on wingspan economics. The headline, "Unpack your arms, they paid for first class." During closeout drill, she screams, "Make yourself huge," spelling it like a kid's block puzzle. Sophie Cunningham tips a pass, Howard closes from the weak side, and the ball ricochets toward the bleachers. Showtime? No, reset. White restarts the drill until the rotation is crisp enough to slice cheese. By day's end, media trackers count 4 shot clock violations forced in 8 possessions, an unheard of ratio for a day 1 camp. Boston later admits she hasn't heard this much chatter since her South Carolina title run, adding, "It sounds like winning." Now imagine that defensive roar feeding a brand new offensive symphony. Golden State's playbook migrated east, and Caitlin Clark is the courier. She tosses a touch pass to Bonner, races through a stagger screen, relocates to the opposite slot, draws 2 defenders, slings a one-hand laser to Boston's ceiling deep. The ball's life expectancy in her hands. Barely 3 seconds, yet the offense is undeniably hers. Assistant coach Brianne January smiles on the sideline. She's weaponizing gravity. Opponents face a dilemma: trail her off screens and get torched, or switch and let Boston feast. Meanwhile, Howard's mid-range pops suddenly look like practice layups. Even more sinister, Clark's mid-range pull-up, rarely needed at Iowa, shows up twice, pure net both times, just to remind the scouting department she owns the entire floor plan. But schemes don't bite. Players do, especially the ones no scout sees coming. Michaela Timpson arrives with a 7-foot wingspan and the bounce of a pogo stick. In one possession, she traps the ball handler at the hash, recovers to hedge a pick and roll, then still blocks Boston at the rim, drawing a gasp so loud the building vibrates. Players slap palms like they've witnessed a UFO landing. On the drama front, skeptics expected fireworks from Brianna Turner after a years-old tweet hinted she wasn't a Clark fan. Instead, Turner invites Clark to shoot around at 6 a.m. The 2 trade corner threes until Turner collapses laughing, 0 for 5 in the final round. She hops up and calls Clark the engine, while Clark deadpans, "I prefer ignition switch." Extinguish one fire, ignite another, a championship mindset sweeps the room. Sydney Colson jogs to the scorer's table, slaps it twice, superstition from her back-to-back titles in Vegas, then fences Clark with a forearm during a trap drill. Clark stumbles, grins, and next rep knifes through the pressure, whipping a blindside bounce that hits Lexi Hull in stride for 3. Colson yells, "That's the adjustment you'll need in the finals." Everyone hears finals. Nobody blinks. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston's strength program now includes ballet bar work. Her footwork looks feather light at 6'5". Hull quietly buries 7 of 9 corner threes in scrimmage. And Dantas, 12 pounds leaner after a season in Turkey, runs the floor like a small forward, drawing ooze with a Euro step finish. Collectively, they're a chemistry lab where every element reacts fast. Veteran knowledge dissolves rookie nerves, rookie energy fuels star power, and the mixture bubbles like soda left in the sun, which leads to a question nobody outside Indiana wants answered. What if the rebuild is already built? First practices usually drip with fumbled passes and awkward hellos. This one felt like late-season film review, precise, urgent, mischievously confident. The vets set the tone, the kids chase it, and the stars, Clark, Boston, Mitchell, electrify it. Rival execs privately admit the Fever's plan may have leapt 2 calendar pages overnight. They expected a learning curve. They got a learning sprint. And if the chemistry we witnessed under fluorescent lights survives the 40-game floodlights, the Indiana Fever won't ask for respect. They'll yank it, possession by possession, horn by horn. So, if you can already feel that spark crackling through your screen, drop a basketball on Fever down below, smash subscribe, and stay locked. Because the season that rewrites the WNBA script might have started before sunrise and might end with a trophy hoisted into midnight.